All right, what is up, my peeps? Joshua Smith here with another GSD Mode podcast, weekly real estate podcast interview, where every single week I interview top entrepreneurs, top real estate professionals, and strip top badasses out there dominating their space. And today, guys, got another amazing, epic guest here on the podcast. Our podcast today is a luxury real estate agent expert out of Washington. So, really stoked and honored to have Amanda Aguiar on the podcast. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. It is my honor to be here. So hopefully I'll be able to share some nuggets and whoever is watching will take something to go in and implement in their business.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. And I've gotten to know you now over the last several months and just, watching everything that you're doing, watching on social media. And the more that I get to know you, the more, I'm just learning, and just,
Oh,
just impressed by what you're doing. And so before we get into all the amazing things that you're doing now today, I'm always intrigued in our guest journeys that led them here in the first place. So if we round the clocks, like what'd you do before real estate and what led you here to real estate in the first place?
yeah, absolutely. So before real estate, and it doesn't feel like it was too far gone, but for the last 12, 13 years, I was in the tech industry here in Washington. It's a big area if you kind of invest in that. Got my degree in business and then start working with some small consulting companies. But my primary client was Microsoft, which is, well-known company. Never worked for them directly, but pretty much have been involved in a lot of different projects and programs and made my way through. Always been in the customer support, customer success. That's kind of been, I feel like I gravitated towards that and just kind of build my career. And I thought that that was forever. I actually really enjoy what I was doing. Was making six figure, traveling the world. I mean, like I couldn't complain, right? So you're thinking like, are you crazy? Like, why did you leave the industry? Um, I think as a lot of people when the pandemic hit, you're just kind of questioning where you're in life, what do you want to do? And I was no different. Not that I thought I was doing something else, but I was going back to my company and I said, guys, I wasn't saying I'm bored because I don't want them to feel like, am I paying you too much? But I was just like, hey, I would like, new projects, new clients. I just want to feel a little bit more challenged. And they were really like, Amanda, you're doing great. The client's happy, keep doing awesome. And I'm like, okay. So I think I was just kind of getting a little bit, feeling like I hit my ceiling and not knowing what was going to be next and never thought about real estate, not even for a second. It was nothing like, didn't dream about it, didn't go in open houses. I mean, thankfully, to this point, I already had a condo that I purchased, like, 8 years or so ago. And then I already had, bought now a house with my husband. So, that was kind of pretty good for the moment of what the knowledge that I had at the time. And then I had a friend that was in real estate that every time he'll see me, he's like, Amanda, you need to get into real estate. You're like people, you're like so easy to talk to. And maybe some of you, I had that big fear, sell. Like I don't want to sell anything. Like that's not me. I don't like to be forcing. I don't want to be in a script. Like, so I was terrified of thinking about real estate that I was going to be having to do that, which I know we are selling, but I think there's a mindset shift that I needed to go through. So long story short, I was not ready to jump into real estate, full time because again, I wasn't sure this was for me. So I made a commitment to myself that I was going to try real estate for a full year, no matter what, if it was good, bad, or ugly, alongside doing my full-time job so that I could just get a perspective of a full calendar year in real estate, all the different seasons, and what I thought about it. And 1 month in, I absolutely loved it, but I was not financially ready to make the jump into going full time because, as I said, I had high expenses and all of those things, and I was taking care of my elderly grandparents. So there was some financial, pressure on me to make a slow move. And as life happens, I thought that was going to happen a little bit faster. It took me 2.5 years. And just this January of 2025 that I fully went full time. And I already done more deals that I've done last year. I currently passed my, full-time job income. So now I'm just going after making the same I made for real estate. Then I feel like I'm pretty good this year.
Yeah, no, I love it. So then, okay, so a couple things here, that I want to unpack because obviously, as you're aware, because I know that you're working with agents and building teams all over North America, now as well as most that start off in your position, meaning when they're brand new, they have that full time career and they're wanting to make that transition. Obviously, you were able to do it successfully and make transit, real estate your full time gig. Like, how did you balance it? What did you do? What advice would you give to those that are maybe in that same situation on how to navigate that successfully? Because it is tough, because it's like you got this full time career, you got real estate, which it's a full time gig, even part time, right? Then you got outside life commitments. Like, it's really difficult to balance all those things.
No, absolutely. And it was hard. It was hard. There's no other easy way to that. But I have to say a little bit some of my previous skill set from just, my career, it did help me to be a little more organized. I, you know, I I felt like I had two full-time jobs because anything outside my full-time job, it was dedicated to real estate. I was working 7 days a week. All of a sudden there was a lot of shifts in my life, like, family time, weekends. I didn't know what those things were anymore because I was, doing open houses and, all the other things, showing homes. And so I think, first of all, it's if you are, married or in a relationship or something, having that conversation in the family, the dynamic is going to change so that you're not feeling guilty, right, for missing out or doing. So I definitely had those pockets because I'm very social and also very family oriented. So I had to take a step back from some of those things to invest in real estate. So a lot of the times I never felt necessarily pressure from the outside. I was giving myself more pressure than anybody else, right? So I think the best you can to have a clear goal and not overwhelm yourself with real estate because there's so much you can do. And I am like the type of person that, I want to know everything before I'm already there. Like, I want to know the forms before I even work with a client. But it was one of those things that I felt like I don't have the bandwidth to go do those extra things. I need to learn as I go. And, just to kind of be mindful of the time that I had. And I think the mentors that I had at the time, it made a huge difference because they helped me, hey, let's focus on these few things for the next, 90 days. And then from there, we kind of check where you at, what do you want to do. So I think creating some boundaries from the beginning of how I wanted to invest my time. But I can't tell you that it was like easy breezy. It wasn't, it really wasn't.
Yeah, yeah. So then, how did you know you were ready? Because it's not like you like okay, like I never had a good job for that real estate. I never made more, so it was kind of easy to walk away from the job because I could go replace it because I never made
Yeah.
more than $10 an hour. But like you had like a good job, a good
Yeah.
career. You had a good
Yeah.
career.
It was, I think, I feel very blessed that I joined the right group from day one. I know not everybody has that experience to share. And I actually did have a very successful beginning compared to a lot of, first year realtors. Like in 5 months, I had closed 5 deals. I had made, over $80,000 in GCI. So I technically I could have jumped the ship even maybe around that time, but there was a lot of fear that was holding me back. Maybe guys are a little bit more like, well, this is great, I just keep the momentum. But I had some personal things that I hit hard, and then it kind of like in that moment, thankfully I did have, a full-time job. Then kind of, it was still my safety net because my energy wasn't there, even though I was still showing up for real estate. But man, my energy was down. Or if you know me and hear how positive I am and things like that, I did not want to be around anyone. Still, I was doing my videos, I was still showing up to open houses and doing all of those things, but I did not want to be there because just on an emotional level, I was just, my mind was not there, but my commitment was there. And I think that's a lot of a difference sometimes from agents because we will hit some, ups and downs in life, right? But my commitment, it was there to still do the bare minimum. And for me, my bare minimum was still to do my open houses. It was still to do my social media because I hit that running from day one. And so it was definitely, I had that transition there. So what I did was on that moment when I was feeling my energy was not out there to be out, I started, because I had a good start. So agents were coming to me and say, how did you do? How did you start? So from that, automatically, I start building my group. That was not like necessarily intentional at that time, but it just happened. And because I've been a manager for so long and I love helping people, it was very easy to me to gravitate towards, the coaching. Even they're like, wow, you're 5 months in the business, you're already coaching. But I knew what it takes, for someone to be successful because I've been managing people. This is just a different industry, but the basic steps are the same. At least, it helped me. So I started growing, my downline until I was kind of my energy was back where I wanted to be. And so here I am again, my first year, I almost got that 100K, maybe at the time I had like 15 agents or something that I had
Yeah.
hit. And then I had to go back and have those conversations with the family, in this case with my husband, just like, okay, what do I need to have for me to make the move? Because the move I knew I wanted to do almost immediately after, I started doing real estate. And then we say like, okay, you need to, we need to save that much money. Then I'm going to feel comfortable to make the move. Well, I made the money and then we bought a house in Arizona. So all my investments, it went into Arizona and we have an Airbnb there. So I was actually very frustrated because that was not my personal goal, but it ended up being the family goal. And I had to take, that step. So to say this year, I was just like, I am starting with no savings, with no nothing. I am done waiting. I know this is what I'm supposed to do. So I just had to take the leap of faith.
Yeah. Yeah. But I'm guessing like you had the track record, you had the skill set, you had the knowledge. So you have that because I think so much of just that confidence of like, hey,
Yeah,
I know this is gonna work. Like
yeah.
I have that high level certainty, and then plus I mean you had 15 agents your first year. How many agents did you have going into this year in your rev sheet?
I think I was probably around like 40, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So making some, I mean, not enough to probably completely live off, but like, decent, fallback income there too.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
Very, very minimum. Maybe could pay my car.
yeah, yeah, yeah. All right. So then how is it going now? I didn't realize that you've only been full time for 9 months. And you probably told me at one point in time, but
And that's
yeah,
okay.
I mean, I
That's
see all
okay.
the deals that you're doing. I would have guessed that you've been full time for a long time.
No, and I mean, like, I did that, right? So I had a closing January. My next closing was not until April. And I was definitely sitting on the edge of my chair, not feeling like, did I made the right move, but more like, I know this is it's what I'm supposed to do, but I'm just like, I did not do this full time to struggle. Like, I just was just like, I am planting the seeds. I've been planting the seeds. Something gotta happen. And, uh, not trying to go there, but I'm a faith woman. I was like, God told me clearly through other people this was I was supposed to do. So I kind of challenged him and I said, okay, you better send the clients. I'm here. I'm doing it. And then since April, it's been like a waterfall. Like clients are just coming, social media clients, referrals, which I hadn't really had referrals yet from my past clients, but this year is just like, more of that has been happening. And I cap a lot faster than I did last year, so that 100% feels so good.
Yeah. So then, all right, so because you're also like where you're at in Washington, I mean, you're do a lot of luxury, and
Hmm.
usually it takes a lot of people a long time to break into luxury, you know, um, for those that are wanting to kind of start breaking that niche, because one of the quickest ways to start increasing your income is increase your price point.
Absolutely.
You don't need to close more
Absolutely.
deals, just close higher, higher price point deals. So what did you do strategically to start position yourself, even as a part-time agent, to start getting in with luxury?
Yeah, no, I definitely started that from day one. I kind of already branded myself as a luxury agent, even though I was not part of the luxury team, the luxury division. Now I am, which I just joined like a few days ago, maybe a week. Um, but I just was like, I am in a market where the homes around me are all like $1 million more, right? So I already go into places that people are making the money, and obviously there's still that, like, how you're going to make those connections and things, with other people. But so I already knew I am in the luxury industry, so I had to gain the confidence, right? So I had very strategic, like if I'm doing my open houses, um which towns do I want to be in? What is my price point? Only stage homes, because again, it's all attached back to my brand. So that when I'm posting, I'm doing an open house in that house, it's just luxury homes. It's just luxury homes. And do I get an yes every time I was calling and asked to the open house? Absolutely not. I would have been calling, texting, but I had the list of the homes that I wanted to do. First was within my town, because thankfully I do live in a town where there's you know, older homes, but the homes in here are expensive. And so I would just, start building those relationships with those listing agents that a lot of them are like new builds. Even though, it was not directly with the builder, they also always had, an agent that was representing them. But I would just be calling, even when sometimes they said no. I would text again. Oh, great. You have another listing. Can I help now? Because I'm like, you have so many listings, you can't be everywhere, right? So you gotta let me in. So, with some took a while, some I became kind of almost like they were the one reaching out to me. Hey, can you do an open house for me and things like that? I'm a very brand focused, so I got also that in very early on. Went to Fiverr.com, which is not that expensive. At the time, I think I paid like $250 for someone to create my logo, to create, like, I didn't want just the typical business card that you get from your brokerage. Like, I wanted something already a little different. So I think my main investments were to get like lifestyle photos in nice homes so that I could use that for my brand, kind of creating my brand already, color, all of those things so that I can be consistent. Only doing open houses in luxury homes, being very specific to what I was looking for, even though I still had clients that reach out to me. Hey, can you help me buy a $300 condo, or a $600 home or whatever? I am for everybody, but when you see what I post, it's very specific, but I am going to help whoever reach out to me. And so it's been pretty incredible. And I feel like more and more this year that I'm closing more luxury, properties. And I think a little bit too because I am more full time. So I have like more dedication. I am getting involved more with the city. So, I've been joining the chamber within my local community, made amazing connections with like business owners that I'm starting to do a little trend that I seen some realtors do, like maybe Miami or LA, where whenever you're gonna go do like a photo shoot or a video shoot, that I'm contacting local boutiques and I'm like, hey, do you want me to do you want to dress me? Hey, do you want me to wear your sunglasses? Because then it's a collaboration that it's going beyond just my audience, so this is becoming some good partnerships that I'm starting here in the last few months.
Yeah, well, you like I said earlier, I mean, you have such a great job at it because, like, just from outsider looking in, like when I follow your stuff, and I started following your stuff before, we even had a conversation before I'd met
Yeah.
you. Like, I'd be thinking, hey, this is a top luxury agent
Oh,
that's been
thank
selling
you.
real estate for decades, right? Like, so when I'm, because now you are a top luxury agent, but you weren't always, right? So
No, no.
that's where perception is more important than reality. And you got that out of the gate of, hey, I'm clear on the brand I want to create. I'm going to create that perceived reality until it becomes reality. And okay, so you're starting off with open houses from pretty much day one.
Yeah.
You're then leveraging social media to show off those open houses, to slowly start building up your social media brand and And is that still like, is that, am I hearing that right? Is that's been like the main play pretty much from day one that you've just been consistent ongoing with?
Um, yeah, and I'll say the third thing was just kind of my sphere, right? Because I know we get very afraid of doing that, and believe me, sometimes I'll send a text and be like, "Ugh, they're probably gonna think I just all I want is their business, you know." But I was very strategic, like when I created my social accounts and everything, like I literally text everybody on my phone line, like from A to Z, 1,000 people that I had. Like some people I didn't even remember how I met them. So I just like, and then I just kind of get consistent with creating newsletters, asking people's emails so that I use a lot, like holidays is coming soon, guys. This is the time that you ask everybody their address to send a Christmas card, and then you ask their email, you ask for everything. So then after that you do send the Christmas card, but then make sure you continue and add them to your database. So we're just things like that, using opportunity of other things that was just not related to real estate to also gather people's contact. They can always remove themselves if they wish, but just doing that. I have to say this summer, it's probably been my first summer that I barely done any open houses. And I actually going to be doing my first open house this weekend, which I haven't done probably since June. But this year up to, like I would say, summertime, my three areas of focus have been open houses, my sphere, and social media.
Yeah. And then I'm guessing that that's just getting the point because your sphere and your social media is starting to compound with so much business that you don't necessarily, because like open houses are a means to an end
Yeah,
over enough time. Yeah. Right. Where
yeah.
those things start to pick up, that long game's paid off.
Exactly, exactly. And I mean, like, I had great people that I met through open houses this year that I had like double deal, helping them buy and sell. And it's incredible as well when you meet someone from social media. Like, I actually just went under contract yesterday with a couple moving from Canada, and they found me on social media. And it just the trust that already someone can build, through social. That's why I always tell the agents, just like, I know it feels it's annoying. Believe me, if you see my videos from 2 years ago, I don't even like going back to look at them. That's why you post a lot, because someone that will come to my page and be like thinking that I'm there doing this for so many years because there's so much content. And in the beginning, I was like, whatever I was reading or telling people, I was learning on the go. I did not know all the terms. I didn't know all the different loans. I didn't know any of those things, but as I was educating my sphere, I was educating myself at the same time. And and then you just kind of get better and better and better. And I feel like there's nothing that makes me better when someone sends me a video of an idea and they're like, "You should do this," even though I am a fun person, but not a funny person.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
sometimes they send some funny videos. I'm like, yeah, probably does not align with my brand.
Yeah. So then, all right. So, okay, you're doing the open houses, you're leveraging, the open houses for your social media. And then I'm guessing maybe other things too. The thing I love about social media now, you've got it, it's a long game. So you've got to be intentional like you have been. You got to be consistent. You got to be patient.
Yep.
But then again, it makes it where the other stuff becomes a means to an end. Now you got people reaching out to you. It's just such a great way to do business. But, you know, um, can you unpack a little bit more of, the type of content? Like if you were coaching me on, you're
Yeah.
like, hey
Yeah.
Josh, your social media brand sucks. Like, let's get you dialed in and let me teach you. Like, if you were walking me through it, just so everybody can learn from, the success that you've had with it, like what type of frequency, what type of content, like is there anything unique, special that you've learned with call to actions or things that, help increase the success rate of that?
Yeah. So first of all, if you don't know what to post, at least post something. But, be meaningful. I know people say like to kind of narrow your target avatar and things like that. And maybe you already have like a specific niche. I didn't have like a specific niche, like just elderly or just younger or, but I was just going in general luxury, right? Maybe you have a niche that you can do in your area because you're really good, veterans, so you can pick one of those things. Or if you don't have any, I would say, if you want to get buyers and sellers, I don't, I never was able to only put content just for sellers. So it was always a mix, because I just thought like, I don't know what else I can tell to a seller. So at this point, I was like, I don't care. I want a client, buy or sell. Like I'm not, I'm not picking and choosing. Um, my consistency is a little crazy. Like, I started posting like 5 days a week. Today I post probably like two times to three times maybe a day. But I would say at a bare minimum, if you're getting started, if you can post 3 times a week. And I would say consistency. If it's Monday, Thursday, Saturday, Monday, Thursday, Saturday. If you can, the consistency you make, and it might sound like, oh, it's 3 times a week, and I'm gonna do that, maybe 3 days in a row, or people notice the consistency. And those things, it's showing a habit that you have that they're gonna decide if they want to work with you or not. So, so pick your 3 days if that's where you can get started. If you're not ready for the camera, I will definitely recommend. But if you're not ready for the camera, and if you're gonna do just some generical, post and carousels, I at least recommend that your photo needs to be in your post, because you're just posting a bunch of random things. Who is that connecting to? Who am I? Who is that agent that is behind that post? So I always say, don't be a secret agent, even in your posts. If you just, your photo needs to be there on the corner or somewhere, that, at least that was for me. Like, I feel like your face needs to be in your post to so that the people that are watching it, they're like, wow, Amanda again. Oh my gosh, Amanda again. Like, then maybe they'll catch their attention to stop to see what you're posting it. And in the beginning, when I started, ChatGPT was not a thing yet. So I would have looked my content in Pinterest. I would have just post, search in there like ideas for buyers, ideas for seller. And that was already content that someone else has created. And I would have just I was not reinventing the wheel, but I was just kind of re-adding with my brand and my color. But I was almost like, copying the topics, maybe changing a word here and there if you want to sound a little bit more like you. But today, with the technology that we have, you can literally go to ChatGPT and say the frequency that you want to post, who is your client, who is your audience, and if you want some just, ideas of what your content should look like that you're going to be posting, and even the scripts. Like in the beginning, I would do, my scripts, I would get like blogs from real estate, companies, keeping current matters. I think that's one of the websites. I used to just go and copy their blog posts, and I would throw it on ChatGPT, and I said, make me a 30-second, script for this. And I was reading everything. I am not the person that, like, I would have actually that on my video, and then you will get better. Because in the beginning, I was like, literally, I feel like my eyes, you could tell that was reading line by line. But then I got better, and like, maybe I should position my camera this way, because then I'm looking into the camera. Now it doesn't look like I'm reading. Oh, maybe now I should put a little farther out if I can, I have good eyes. So like, if I can, read from afar so it doesn't look, too much. Maybe have a little prompt, you're holding something, on that house that you are. So again, it helps create movement. But as far as like, timing, as you continue to post, if you have a business page with Instagram, you should be able to see your dashboard and where people are looking at your content the most. Because it might be slightly different from region to region, but usually I'm posting anywhere between 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. That's kind of like, people are already waking up and checking their phones. They're on their lunch, they're checking their phones, and they're checking out from work, they're checking their phones. So I feel like, that's been kind of the hours that I post. But sometimes things happen and I do post outside of those hours, but that's a little bit of like, what I do. But Canva today as well, right? It's not a big monthly, if you're paying per month or if your brokerage provides you. I love Canva. I was already using Canva even before real estate. So for me, it was very easy to use that. In the beginning, it was a little bit mess because I had like, this color, that color. But when I, close to my brand, actually that makes a lot easier for you to post. Because if you have too many things going on, oh, which one should I create today? But when you have like my color, my font, then you don't have to think about those things. It's less time that you're actually spending in creating content, and all your focus is actually on the message that you're going to be sending out.
Yep. No, I love that. And then I don't know if you struggle with this, but I know a lot of people do, including myself, of like it can be so uncomfortable. Like getting on camera, creating content. Yeah, eventually you get used to it, right? But did you struggle with that? And if so, like, how did you get over that? Because I know that
Yeah.
that's what stifles most people is just the fear of the camera and the lack of the confidence.
I mean, I love taking pictures, but I did not like to do videos. In the beginning, having to edit my own videos, it was like so hard. I hated hearing my voice. And I had so many things that I had to overcome. I was just like, as a woman, you're looking at all the things. Oh, I cannot just put a cap in my head. I'm trying to be luxury, right? So what I'm wearing, makeup, all of those things, setting that up. And then and I have an accent. Like today, I really don't care, but in the beginning, I would repeat the same video like 30 takes, and that was taking forever. That was just for me to post on that same day because I was doing the content, editing, posting every single day. And then I think probably, hopefully by now, if you're following Joshua and you or other amazing people out there, batch your content, right? Then that already starts saving so much of my time of throughout the week I would get my scripts, and then when I was time to video, um it was not perfect, it was not amazing. Like as I said, I would redo it because I'm like, did they understand what I was trying to say? And then I got, because I'm a perfectionist, so I had to get a better with that. And I was just like, if it's 80%, if my message is 80% good, it's getting posted. And then as I got a little bit busier, I was able to get, help from virtual assistant. So that helps editing my videos, but I still do the video myself, right? I still need to talk. I still need to get the content. They don't tell me what I need to talk about. That's still me. But once I finish that and I put on a drive, they take care of editing and posting. They already know my style. They already know what I like and what I don't. And, we've been working together for 2 years. But in the beginning, it was definitely tough. But if you can just like have one day a week that you collect all your script, one day a week, let's say just like every Monday, there's 4 Mondays in a month, most likely. One Monday it's your scripting day. One Monday it is your, recording day. The other Monday is gonna be when you're like getting everything edited, and then the last Monday is just posting. So you can have content for, preparing for that month to come. But the camera thing, it's like really, it's gonna get better with time. Unless you're already super confident, you're just gonna have to put yourself out there. You won't get any easier today or tomorrow, especially if you have not done that. And again, it doesn't have to be right on your face. You can make them really short too, right? Like don't feel like you need to. Some of mine before was like I was talking for almost a minute, and man, that was a lot. Like I feel like today people are not staying that long unless you're really good and about grabbing people's attention. And I don't even do my videos that long. They're like 15 seconds, 20 seconds max, because I know people are going to be moving on to the next thing. So straight to the point, asking questions. I feel like I, again, can use ChatGPT or whatever, search engine AI thing that you may use, a catching question in the beginning so that maybe will make the person stop. And then you can finish even whatever else you're trying to say on the captions. So, but just to get them to watch, and then you can, have either a call to action or just tell them to like, read more details, on the caption below or something like that. But I feel like just get started. It even like, one thing that I use to, and I still do, but I love about doing open houses because I would get there 30 minutes early, or if it was, not busy, I would have just put my best friend, tripod, my phone, and a mic. That's been like the three things that it's in my bag with me all the time, just in case if I wanted to talk. But even if you don't want to talk in the beginning, again, just to show your face, I just put my tripod and I go and fluff the pillows in the couch. I walk in the kitchen. So, just those B rolls. And then you can add a little word as you're walking around. I feel like at a bare minimum, if you can start doing videos that way, so you're not talking yet, but just getting comfortable walking in front of the camera, doing different things in the house. So those, I feel like I actually do a ton of those more, especially when I get a little busy that I don't have the time to, you know, talk too much or record the videos. I don't waste time on my open houses. I always am doing videos, walking around, doing anything on the house, so that I can use that in the future. And you can repeat the same video multiple times with different messages.
Yep. Love it. So then, okay, so you're doing primarily short form. Do you do any long form like YouTube?
I tried and it was too much for me. It
Okay.
was just like, um, again, because if I could recommend, if you want to start, is start with YouTube, then do Instagram. Because I feel like if you can get used to doing long form, doing short it will be a lot easier. But going the other way around, because I invested so much quick, to the point. And then here I am trying to do, at the time I started both. I started Instagram and I started a YouTube channel. And that was for buyers and sellers, or, home tours. Obviously, the home tours were the lot easiest one because I would just do a video of the home, speak in the front, like introduce the home, and then speak in the end and kind of close off. But I definitely struggle with the YouTube. So now that's why now I am transitioning my YouTube channel to just like more for agents, because that I feel like I can talk, but for whatever reason, for buyers and sellers, it just felt like, oh man, this is a lot of talking that I don't want to do. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, but I think there's definitely something there. I never really got any deals from YouTube directly, but I wasn't super active in there. But everything that I post on my social media on Instagram, the short forms, it goes to shorts on YouTube. So at a bare minimum, my account still shows, movement, but I just wasn't doing anything like long form for a while.
Yep. Yeah. And for everybody that's listening and watching, good artist copy, great artist steal. R&D, rip off and duplicate. So if you scroll below, if you're watching this on YouTube or if you're listening on audio, whether it's the show notes or the description, I'm gonna have all Amanda's social links. So go follow her stuff, see what she's doing, see how she's doing it, how she's posting her content. The best in this industry, like I said, it's rip off and duplicate, right? You reverse
Yeah.
engineer what people are doing that it's working for them. So I have those below so you guys can follow Amanda, reverse engineer what she's doing, and make it your own in your own markets, and then obviously be able to reach out to her with any questions and so forth there. So, so I want to switch gears a little bit with you.
Yeah.
So have you been at EXP the whole time?
Yeah. Day one.
You lucky to, yeah, you're,
I know,
you're,
I know.
yeah,
I do feel very lucky and part of the most amazing team. Like I'm so blessed, so blessed.
yeah. What, what out of the gate, what got you sold on, EXP? Because it's hard, especially when you're new. Like everybody's coming after you. Not like that ever really stops, but
Yeah, yeah,
but
no,
it's hard
totally.
to know. Like we don't know what we don't know, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, like, my start with EXP, it wasn't not because I did my research and say like which one am I gonna pick. At the time that I was getting my license, the one friend that kept telling me to get into real estate, he was at Compass. So I was getting my license, and then as I finished my license, he moved to EXP. So it was for me at that time, it wasn't a matter of which brokerage I was going with him. I was just like, wherever you at, you told me to get into this industry, you're gonna help me be successful here. So it was more like I was following him. If he was at Compass at the time, probably I would have, joined him at Compass. But thankfully, he did make the switch, as I was finishing up. So he was probably with EXP for like, I don't know, 3 or 4 months, maybe not even that much. And then when I joined, like I always been like a self growth, self mindset, all of those, learning. But I felt like in the last few years, I was not growing as fast as I personally like, but I joined this group and I was just like, I just couldn't wait for the next call. It was just like, I am learning so much. There's so much good stuff because I already knew that just for even from the business side of like, I could capture that, right? Working on my mindset. I feel like in the last 3 years, I've read so many books and audiobooks. Like I hadn't done that in so long. And a lot of them, it's just like about my personal growth, right? So this is even beyond, it does impact my business for sure, but it's just that personal growth. It just took to the next level. So I felt like they were speaking my language, right? I was like, I found my tribe and it made amazing relationships and friendships. With people that I just met on here on Zoom. So like I'm already like can't wait to meet you in person, right? So like when you come to the big conferences, it just feels like it's a family reunion. That's kind of how I feel.
Yeah. Yeah. So what would you say are, I mean, I know it's tough because you don't have other experience at other brokerages, but what are what would you say your top 3 or 4 favorite elements are to EXP that you find that, like if anybody's watching or listening to this, that's maybe thinking about making
Yeah.
this move,
Yeah.
like you feel like just supports you where it's like, hey, this is the right company for me to be with.
I think the first thing it was just the cloud base. I was already used to like working from home in my previous job and like to travel and things like that. So the cloud base was definitely, and it's not raping my bank account. I mean, for me, it's crazy of how much we pay per month and all the things that we get. It's just like it's crazy. Again, I'm not afraid of investing myself, but just especially when you're getting started, you almost want to minimize, right, all your expenses. And I was just kind of like, this is incredible. I'm getting all this training. Um, all this support for $85 a month. Like, is this even possible? It is possible because we're a cloud based. So we remove all those expenses. So I think that's like definitely a big thing for me because I can be with my computer anywhere. I can get help. I don't need to, I like to say I'm efficient. So like all the driving around, I know some agents sometimes are like, oh, but I want an office. And I'm like, is the office is going to be all it takes for you to close a deal? I don't know if you're in the right business. And sorry, that's just my perspective. Like, and so that aligned with, a little bit of what I was doing before being remote. So I could still be working from home, especially having a part-time job. It was the perfect scenario for me to get started. Um, and then I think, just the training. I'm not saying like you should go doing all the training because probably it'll be like 40 hours a week just in trainings, right? So it's like a little bit overwhelming because you still need to go talk to people to close deals. But I think that support of the training, it's definitely another level. And I mean, like, I definitely love the structure and all the possibilities that you can grow I mean, I feel like literally limitless here. Like, I can, yes, be focusing on my production. I am building, a group that I have long-term goal with. I am coming from a company before, right, that I had 401k, and then here I am. If you're not thinking about those things, now I am investing stocks with the company in every transaction that I close. So I say that that's my little 401k that I'm taking from my every paycheck. So I feel like that's incredible that you have options to grow. It just depends how you want to take it. I have not taking on as much of like the international side of the company because they're in so many countries. I feel like it's something I do want to explore. I feel like it's in the back of my mind, something of how do I want to do that in the future, but just knowing that I can grow as well in that area. So I don't feel like, like I was before, stuck. Oh, I
Yeah.
hit my ceiling here. I feel like I can go to sleep and wake up and I'm like, I have all this list of things that I want to do. And and then just give you opportunity, right? And obviously I can't leave it out that what it made the huge difference for me about being part of EXP. It's our Wolfpack team. Like
Yeah.
it's like no other. Like I already talked to people from other groups and I am drinking the Kool-Aid and I love it and it's amazing and it's real. It's real. And that's the difference in here. That feeling of we're here to win and to win together and the collaboration, it's something that I have not seen it unless like, when I talk to other agents, we're always, encountering other agents and hearing from them. Maybe you get that with other groups, unless you're part of a small little group, they might share a little thing, but they're not willing to share with everybody else. But I feel like in here, I have my personal goals and they're big for me. I don't, and I know this, everybody's different. I am not looking at another agent with an EXP or another agent with a different brokerage here locally that like, oh, I want to pass them. Like if I achieve my goals, I am going to be so happy. I don't care where they are, above me, below me, same as me, so I'm not wasting my time and my energy in comparing myself with someone else.
Yeah, it's one of the only models I've ever seen, if not the only model I've ever seen, where we get rewarded by helping, like our business grows by helping other people grow their business.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the better that we do that, the higher that we do that, the higher level that we do that, the more we all get rewarded. And yeah, it was. I was telling Natalie the other day, we were on a Zoom together. And I'm like, man, I feel like for the first time ever, because I've been doing this 20 years. I've been at numerous different brokerages, but I've been at, from the individual agent to the team leader to the brokerage. I've worn all the different hats, but I've also coached and mentored pretty much every, different franchise owner that you can think of in the industry. And as you said, you're drinking the Kool-Aid. For the first time in my 20 years, I'm drinking the Kool-Aid too. And it's not that like I've been happy where I was at before, but man, I've never seen anything like this. And like I was telling Natalie, I'm like, man, I feel like I've got the cure to cancer and I'm trying to give it to people for free, but they won't take it.
Mm,
And I'm like, I
mm.
mean, of course people do. We got 90,000 agents with us, but
Yep,
I'm like,
yep.
man, I just, because my biggest regret is not understanding and seeing this model. I wasn't, you know, smart like you were when you first got, so like I had so much ego and so I just wouldn't allow myself to see it. And biggest regret of my career is not
Yeah, yeah.
doing this 10 years ago. But at the same point, like my wife always says, well, if you did this 10 years ago, you wouldn't have been with Mike and Amanda and always been,
It's true.
right?
It's
So
true.
everything happens for a reason. And now that we have co-sponsorship, and I know you and I work with, through via co-sponsorship, a
Yeah.
lot of agent partners together where, they get full access to you, your coaching, your training, as well as my coaching training, through co-sponsorship allows us to, where before it was like people had to pick, oh, I want to be with Amanda or I want to be with
Hmm.
Josh. Yeah, right. Either way, they're going to get Mike because we're both in
Yeah.
Mike's
Yeah.
ecosystem, but they get, but now with co-sponsorship, they get the best of both worlds and can have both of us. So with that being said, if somebody does want to have a conversation with you to learn more about what a partnership with you at EXP could look like where's the best place to do that at?
Yeah, no, I will definitely share with you like my link from my Calendly so that people can go directly to my calendar. But obviously, all the social media, I'm on Instagram on a daily basis. If you DM me, we'll put something on the calendar. But yeah, no, we will love to just to share, what we're doing. And it's not only just like, just talking, it's to show, right? Because I mean the number speaks and it's incredible what's happening here. And to even think we're just getting started, Joshua. So you're not late.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, it is crazy. I mean, number one, people will come to me and say, oh, well, you needed to be early. And that's their excuse for joining one of the copycatters. I'm like, dude, there's no such thing as,
Yeah.
like being, like being early. Yeah, right. Like if my whole entire career, there's been 300,000 new agents coming in, 300,000 going out. So I'm like, there's such a big turnover. Yeah, right. Plus then, okay, if you buy into that, which I don't, but if you do buy into that, it's like every month we're adding a new country. You can go to New Zealand right now where we have, I don't know, 12 agents,
Yeah.
at EXP.
Crazy.
We're so new on the ground there, but they've got what, 30, 40,000 agents. So, okay, I can be new to all these markets. They're going to, the visions, they have 100 countries in the next 10 years. So, yeah, right. But now I don't buy that, we're too early here, because again, I mean, if you look at this, we only have actually 4% market share in the US. When you got 2 million realtors or 2 million real estate agents, 1.5 million realtors, 500,000 non-NAR, but we have about 70,000 in the US. You do the math on that. We only got 4% market share. So there's a lot more to be had, you know. So with all that being said, I mean, what's your long-term vision for this? Like, where do you see yourself in, I don't know, 5 years, 10 years?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like obviously I want to be, getting to the ultra luxury. Luxury will be like, just the bare minimum. But, no, I definitely want to continue to grow, the organization for sure. Like, hoping here in the last next 5 years that I am able to, to pass my 500, agents in my downline for sure. But yeah, I think, when I think about it, it's just like continue to work on the lifestyle. And when I think about that, like I think about real estate a lot more than I did before. So I want to continue to invest. Our goal is to in the next 10 years is to have at least 10 properties, to buy a property a year and to invest, and just kind of build our portfolio. So I think it's just like I want to be involved in real estate just as much I tell my clients to get into real estate, either if it's for their first home or it is to invest. And like so yeah, no, and I know probably my going on in a few years is going to like, duplicate whatever my little vision sees right now.
Yeah, no, I love it. I love it. So then what I gotta ask, what is ultra luxury? Like what's the definition of that?
Ultra luxury for me would be like selling, $5 million homes and up.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Yep.
like right now my ceiling was like 2.6. So, so I want to get on the 4 million, the 5 million, and $11 million homes. Just like do the same effort, but close something a little like that can change my life.
Yep. Well, the opportunity is there in your market. Yeah, because
Yep.
when you said ultra luxury, I'm like, and you talk about Microsoft, so my
Yeah.
brain goes to because I mean, what you got Bill Gates, you got Zuckerberg, yeah, I mean you have Jeff Bezos, like I don't know, a third of the country's wealth is like right there in your area.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I am next to our beautiful Lake Washington, which is kind of between Seattle and the east side. That's, where we live, and that's where like Bill Gates has his home. It's on the lake, so the homes in these areas, they are like, you're 10 million and up, right? So 20 million, like football players when they're in the area. Russell Wilson, I think when he left us and he went, and then he had to sell his home here, I think it sold for like 23 million. So it's just like, I want to be able to get to those type of homes for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, you will, no doubt. Yep,
Thank
that'd be
you.
awesome. All right. Well, Amanda, I truly appreciate you taking time out of your busy to be here. This has been absolutely amazing, my friend.
Thank you so much for having me. That this was a pleasure. We're excited to help and to welcome many more people to our group. That's for sure.
Yep, 1000%. Those watching, listening, again, if you just scroll below, I'm gonna have all Amanda's social media links, also her link if you want to schedule a call with her to learn more about partnering with her and us at EXP. There's gonna be a link for all of that below. Truly appreciate you guys watching, listening. Keep crushing it, and we'll see you next time. Peace.
Bye.